kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me.
After an absolute slugfest last week, we now come back to Talladega, and we're breaking out the ARCA cars for the first time this season. Welcome to the Circle B Diecast Superspeedway Series, brought to you by Rowdy Energy. Tony Trapasso up in the booth with you for this one. As hot lap session underway right now, everybody trying to get a feel for these cars. Do need to give a couple special shout-outs here as happy belated birthday to Sydney McConey, as I believe she's watching here tonight as her husband Greg going to do battle. Happy birthday today to Joe Gautier, and happy belated birthday to Ed DeBoer, whose birthday was yesterday. So a lot of, shall we say, New Year's propositions taken to fruition here in the iRacing East family. As we got about 2 minutes left here in the hot lap session, let's go ahead and take a look at tonight's conditions. 2.65 miles here in Talladega, Alabama, 72 degree ambient air temperature, 47% relative humidity, which means these engines are going to be making gobs of horsepower. Track temperature, though, it's in the crap house. 111 degrees. Not going to bode well for tire wear. Although tire wear is usually pretty non-existent here on the plate tracks. One thing to be mindful of tonight, as we are going to be breaking out the ARCA cars for the first time this season, these cars don't have the right bump draft package on them. They didn't scan a Superspeedway version of this car, so the front and rear bumpers don't line up. And it's very easy to get the car in front of you loose if you try to put a bumper to them. You got to be extra careful if you're trying to work a draft package. So something these guys are really going to have to be mindful of all night long. As this is a good weekend for racing here on Sim Racing Media. Coming up, we got a triple header on September 11th, starting at 4:10 Eastern Time with the ISNF Cup Series. They'll be from Kansas. And then the double nightcap to that night will be the Nexus 499 from Daytona. That'll be at 8:15 start, and then, as we always do on Sunday nights, it'll be Sunday Night NASCAR as they go to Kansas as well. So a lot of racing left this weekend here on Sim Racing Media. Heck, you might even say there's a lot of racing left tonight, as Monsters of Speed New Gen Cup Series will be round 5 at Charlotte here in about 30 minutes. And then, looks like at 10:15 we have the Trackstar 125 money race from Talladega. So a lot of Superspeedway racing left here tonight on the channel. A lot of racing left this weekend. Let us know in the live chat who you're pulling for, and we will try to highlight your favorite driver. Brad Mashburn, wish you were here tonight, buddy, as this track usually falls right into your wheelhouse with the ARCA cars on track. Qualifying, getting ready to fire off here. Looks like the two-time defending series champion Marcus Adams is going to be one of the first ones to roll it. And, of course, Trading Paints is giving me issues. Bear with me, folks, as I'm trying to update that again. Adams the first one to bring it out on track here tonight. Relatively short field. As there is the birthday boy from last night, Mr. Ed DeBoer. James Lowe out on track. Lowe has already punched his ticket into the playoffs. As Adams bringing it back pit side. New paint scheme on the 31 here tonight. Rocking the throwback Dale Jr. paint scheme with the 31 on there tonight. Matt Swope out on track in the 82. There you see him. And making his debut, that's Chris Howell in the 88. Again, throwback Dale Jr. scheme on the AC Delco 38. DeBoer with that bright yellow Monster Energy paint scheme on that car. And what a coincidence, I just so happen to be drinking that flavor of sugar-free Monster right now. One and done here for qualifying. Single lap qualifying. And still waiting on the first ones to lay a time down here. As DeBoer looks like he's going to be the first one to actually lay a time. James Lowe out on track in the SimCube 99. Very subdued paint scheme on that. Lowe goes purple in the first sector. Immediately, Matt Swope in the 82 now goes purple in the first sector. Jason Papp out on track in the Old Spice number 1. Let's see what type of lap times we're going to be able to see here as DeBoer going to lay the first mark and immediately gets bumped off by Lowe. Let's see what Swope's going to put up as he comes through the tri-oval with a good head of steam. Across the line for Swope, right to the top of the pile, 52.98. Marcus Adams jumps up to third quick. Jason Papp out on track right now. Greg McConey out there as well. Papp going to slide into fourth quick. Brian Chu out there in the Interstate Batteries, number 18 here tonight. Let's see what type of lap Chu is going to lay down. Second quick. As McConey coming through 3 and 4, heading into the tri-oval with a good head of steam. Actually, I take that back. He's coming down the back straightaway right now. As Christopher Howell comes into the tri-oval. This is going to be his one lap to count. Across the line, right to the top of the pile in the 88. 52.98 as well. McConey going to slot into fourth quick. We're still waiting on Joe Gautier, Michael Anthony, Chris Worrell, Brandon Wilson, John LeBombard, Tim Henderson, and Shane Posey all to lay a time. And you can see on the side of McConey's car, this is a new paint scheme on these cars. iRacing just did an update, both a damage model and a model update on this car during the rollout that happened on Wednesday. As Howell continues to turn laps here, just kind of piddling around as we're waiting for the last few stragglers to put something up. And unfortunately, I don't have points updated for tonight because I don't know what they are yet. Let us know who you're pulling for here tonight. We'll try to highlight your favorite driver as the night goes on. Looks like qualifying has just come to an end. There it goes, and here we go. And, of course, you guys get to look behind the curtain again. Sorry about this, folks, as my live timing and scoring just completely threw up on me. So we're going to need to reboot that. And this car is starting to grid up here. There we go. So starting up on the pole in the 0X Motorsports number 88, that's going to be Chris Howell, 42.97 with a 5. As Matt Swope going to start 6 thousandths of a second behind him in the 82. So relatively close times up in front. As a matter of fact, your top 8 qualifiers separated by only 57 thousandths of a second. Brian Chu, Greg McConey going to roll it off in row number 2. Row 3 is going to see James Lowe and Marcus Adams, the 2 balls out teammates, going to be teaming up there. Jason Papp and Ed DeBoer making up row number 8. Chris Worrell and Michael Anthony for balls out racing, both going to roll it off in row number 5. Brandon Wilson and Shane Posey in row 6. Row number 7 is going to go to the birthday boy himself, Joe Gautier. He's going to be joined back there with Timmy Henderson. And starting shotgun on the field in the 95 of the 15 cars taking green here tonight, that is John LeBombard. 75% fuel fill scheduled for this race. Unlimited tire sets because tire wear is pretty much negligible at the plate tracks. Maybe change once and call it good. As it looks like we do have everybody on track. Just waiting for... There we go. Pace car starting to roll it. Howell going to have the button. Geico restart zone is in effect. So once the pace car peels on off at the exit of 4, the control car, which in this case is going to be the 88 of Howell on the low side. There you see the AC Delco Chevy on the low side. He is going to be the control car. He has to maintain pace, speed until they get to that restart zone. Initial start of the race, excuse me folks, initial start of the race is going to be on the green. After that, leader has control, but they cannot fire until they get into that restart zone. Once they leave the restart zone, though, green flag's coming out regardless, and it's fair game. 70 laps of scheduled distance here tonight. As the field comes down the back straightaway, everybody trying to get a little bit of heat in those tires. And you can see just how high that rear bumper sits on these cars. We're going to highlight that as the race wears on. Normally you see on the Xfinity car, on the truck, and on the Cup cars, that rear bumper will line up, but you can see just how low that front bumper is and how high the rear bumper is. Bump drafting is going to be a real trick here tonight. Everybody's going to have to be very careful. One thing of note, Brian Chu running the only Pontiac in the field tonight. Going back to when Bobby Labonte drove that piece for Joe Gibbs Racing. And I'm seeing a grand total of two Fords in the field tonight. But as the field works its way out of turn number 4, pace car makes that lazy left turn to go below the mustard line, and that is out of bounds. Regardless of your push there, or you cannot improve your positions. The only thing that's left to say is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some barbecue because it's time to get it on in Talladega. Race fans, it's show time! Green flag comes out. Howell pulls the trigger. Swoop goes with him. Everybody playing nicely so far. We're still too wide. Nobody trying to make any crazy moves just yet because no fast repairs tonight. Something to really be mindful of, especially with this car. Howell getting a good run on the low side, getting some help from Brian Chu. Swoop and McConey getting hooked up on the top shelf, though, trying to make something happen. And, you know, we've talked about it before, especially with the next-gen car. There's two ways to bump draft with somebody. One is to push the car in front of you. The other is to push the bubble. Your safest bet is to push the bubble, especially in this car. We got a little 3-wide action going on towards the back as Chris Worrell was caught in the middle there. Shane Posey was trying to make some headway on the top side. Now Worrell goes to the top shelf. No drafting help in one of the lone Fords here. Throwback Mark Martin scheme. Nicely done, Chris. I'm actually digging that car, as he has already had some good success switching over to the Ford brand. Still 3 wide down the back straightaway. It's the 8 of Michael Anthony on the low side. Posey caught in the middle. Worrell on the top side. As here comes the 31 of Marcus Adams up to the top shelf as well to pick up Worrell. Little Ford on Chevy action there towards the midfield. The third lane starting to come in already, as they are going to need some more help, as I believe, yes it is, that is Tim Henderson in the 91 on the top side, the only other Ford in the field. In a sea of Chevys with one Pontiac. So Howell, Swope, Adams, Chu, McConey, Worrell, Lowe, DeBoer, Posey, and Papp rounding out your top 10. There is the Old Spice number 1 of the Chief Cook and Bottle Washer of the iRacing East Superspeedway Series. That is Jason Papp. And I would like to point out, everybody, that if you're looking to get involved in a league, if you want to bring some notoriety to your small business, iRacing East Superspeedway Series is no better place. There is no better place than the iRacing East Superspeedway Series than to bring notoriety to your small business. Right now, this league is funded solely out of the pockets of Greg McConey and Jason Papp, so any little bit can help. If you want to sponsor a lap, if you want to sponsor the restart zone, if you want to sponsor Victory Lane, if you want to sponsor a race, if you want to sponsor the entire series, packages available right now, and you can reach out to This man right here, that is Jason Papp. You can find him on his Facebook page, and he can get you pointed in the right direction. The other gentleman you're going to want to reach out to is Greg McConey, two of the league admins here for the iRacing East Series. As so far, Chris Howell continuing to show the way on that bottom lane. Brian Chu stuck to him. Moyock, North Carolina is where he calls home. Drag race to the line. Give it to Swope by half a fender. The Mount Arab native currently getting a good shove from one of the perennial contenders. That is Greg McConey right behind him. At top line, though, two-time defending series champion Marcus Adams has won back-to-back championships. It's why we call him two-time, as he is working with one of his dedicated teammates. That is Chris Worrell right behind him. Worrell, always a tough contender, never afraid to put it three wide if he feels comfortable, and Worrell usually feels comfortable riding that high line. Rim riding, as they call it. And as there we see the birthday boy right there in the 67, the Logitech Chevy. All black with white lettering right in front of Adams. Again, happy birthday, Cujo. Looking to pull one out here tonight. And you know what? Let's go on board and see just what some of these guys are seeing. As we're going to take a look. This is off the nose of McConey's car, and you can see just how high up that rear bumper sits. And you can see just how low that track bar is running. Surprised we're not seeing sparks off that, as they're going to basically wear that plate completely off the car before they're done here. And then looking off the back, that is from the gearbox, or the rear axle. And right underneath that rear bumper, you can see just how low that front nose sits. A little bit skewed to help these cars corner a little bit better. This is the old school. This is the fourth generation Chevy Impala SS. (2003-2004) model of Cup car. Always fun to break these old school rides out. And little known fact is they are running General tires this year in the ARCA Series. As here comes Tim Henderson, Shane Posey trying to make something happen on the top side as we're on board with Posey. There you see him, first car in line. That's Marcus Adams right behind him. Posey getting a good shove down the back straightaway by the defending series champion. In relatively safe hands. I can't think of many people I would want behind me in the ARCA car other than Marcus Adams and Greg McConey as two of the safest pushers in this car. And Adams getting a little bit of the blinkies. That's got to be a little unnerving for Worrell. Hey. Posey now with the show of force. Up 11 from where he started. Having a good run. Swope getting the good momentum coming through the tri-oval. Give the lap to Swope by half a fender. Swope, Posey, Adams, your top three running side by side as we are still three wide, about 3 rows deep currently, almost 4 rows deep. Adams now with a good head of steam down the back straightaway. Hauling it off into turn number 3. Worrell trying to tiptoe around, push the bubble, and not push the car. Because if you make car-to-car contact nose to rear, chances are the car in front is going to have the rear tires lifted off the ground, and you're basically hanging on for the ride there as Adams drops down. Give the lap to Adams. All-important bonus point as he now jumps up to try to throw the block on Swope. Back down to pick up Posey. As that is Worrell and DeBoer going after each other. still 3 wide at the front of this piece. Everybody else just trying to find their slot, get it figured out to see what they've got here in this first run. And I do apologize for not having the ticker on, folks. 10 laps into this piece already. Adams and Swope door to door coming through the tri-oval. Posey giving a good shove to Adams. Swope gets a better run and 32 thousandths of a second as McConey jumps up to the top side to pick up Worrell. Second biggest mover of the night. Now your biggest mover of the night is at 91 at Timmy Henderson right there in the middle, the only Mustang in the field. Worrell running the old Taurus. McConey now with the nose out front on the low side, trying to make something happen with Marcus Adams. And folks, this is one of the greatest leagues I've ever had the privilege to broadcast. 75% fuel fill. We're probably looking about 25 laps at best here tonight with these fourth generation cars. Not quite the fuel injection. They're still running carburetors and restrictor plates. So we're probably looking about 25 laps on a 75% fuel fill on the tank. As McConey with a good car length. Here comes Worrell and Swope trying to make something happen in that second lane. As they've got the 88, that is your pole sitter, Chris Howell, back there with them. Everybody starting to get 2x2 now instead of 3x3. Adams looks to the top side, going to pick up Worrell on that top side. Adams with a little bit better of a run coming to the line. Adams with the nose out front this time. Worrell has the clear as well. Worrell drops down. Adams thinks about it, realizes Worrell had a better run than he could have thrown the block for. Worrell now shows the way on the low side, driving the only Ford Taurus in the field here tonight. McConey glued to his back bumper. Starting to see a little 3 wide happening as well, as that is the 24 of Ed DeBoer, as he has the 99 of James Lowe with him in that third lane. They're going to need one more car to really make that stick. Now Worrell with a good head of steam coming into the tri-oval. Does have half a car length to the good, coming to the stripe. Wow. Give it to Worrell by 10 one-thousandths of a second. Half a fender for the low side. As James Lowe is abandoned Ed DeBoer on the top shelf. DeBoer's going to slot in between Lowe and the 18 of Brian Chu. All 15 cars still within striking distance. John LeBombard, though, starting to drift back just a little bit off the back bumper of Brandon Wilson. Everybody else, though, throw a blanket over your top 14. As they go 2 wide in front of LeBombard, that's going to help his cause a little bit as he is starting to reel in the back of the field a little, ever so slightly here. Still side by side with those 2 Balls Garana teammates. The Budweiser number 31 of Marcus Adams and the Valvoline Eagle 1-6 of Chris Worrell. Swope and McConey sitting in second and fourth, right behind those 2. Swope giving a good shove to Adams down the back straightaway here. About halfway through this current fuel run, as we're expecting about 25 to 27 laps is about all you're going to be able to get out of a tank of Go Fast here tonight at Talladega. I want to thank everybody for joining us in the live chat. Mary Wise pulling for James Lowe as always. Brad Mashburn already making a prediction, calling Pat McConey and Adams. And, of course, Miss Vicki Copeland pulling for the 1 of Jason Papp. And Brad Mashburn, get well soon, my friend. We miss you out on track. Take care of yourself, and hopefully we'll see you next week. 3 wide in the mid-pack. That's James Lowe caught on the top side. The 88 of Matt Howell in the middle, and Shane Posey on the low shelf. As everybody just riding right now, nobody making any crazy moves. Just trying to see what they've got and how hard it's going to be to pull out and try to make a pass. Swope goes up, throws the block on low, cuts off the momentum, doing a little side draft in there, trying to get some clean air to the radiator of that Impala SS. So the Ford of Worrell leads it right now. He's got McConey glued to his back bumper on the low side. Marcus Adams and Matt Swope leading the middle line, as that is James Lowe and Ed DeBoer leading the top line charge. Looks like they just got joined by the 501 of Brandon Wilson, who's the caboose in that little freight train. 3-car tango in the middle of the track. Normally we call that the sucker hole, but Adams, luckily Swope realized Worrell was there and didn't try to follow Adams down any further. As your 2-time defending series champion now leads the way on the low side, as we are working lap 18 of 70 here tonight from Talladega in the ARCA cars. Round number 3 for the Circle B Diecast Superspeedway Series, presented by Rowdy Energy. Tony Trapasso up in the booth with you for Sim Racing Media. Thank you so much for making us a part of your evening here tonight, as we plan on bringing you the entirety of this season. And I know we haven't gone over it recently, but we are going to take a quick look at the schedule coming up for the series. This week is the ARCA with Talladega. Next week we'll be at the iRacing Superspeedway in the Xfinity car. That'll be on the 16th. We're taking an off week on the 23rd. We will be back on the 30th at Daytona in the trucks. And then comes the fun one. The 7th of October, we're going to Daytona in the Indy cars. You heard me correct. Indy cars. You've not lived till you bump draft in an Indy car at 240 miles an hour. And yes, you can bump draft in the iRacing Indy cars. So looking forward to that as the season wears on. Everybody's still running 2x2 here at the front. That's McConey and Posey on the low side with Timmy Henderson. Worrell leads Marcus Adams. Matt Swope and James Lowe. As we're still working lap 20, getting ready to put lap 20 in the books as they come out of turn number 4 with a good head of steam. Worrell with almost a full car length to the good on that top shelf. Get some good drafting help from 2-time himself, Mr. Marcus Adams, as we are fast approaching what should be green flag pit stops. Worrell, McConey, Adams, Posey, Swope, Henderson, Lowe, Gautier. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. Let's go back and see what went wrong there. Bump draft gone wrong as Worrell gets sideways. Oi! Wow. And see, just misjudged it. Did McConey. 95 gets a race car to the face. 88 takes a race car to the face. Worrell pointing backwards on a one-way street. And you can see heavy left rear damage on that Valvoline Taurus. That is definitely no bueno, as we are actually going to... where is it? There it is. We are actually going to go on board as soon as I can find them. This is what Chris Howell saw, your pole sitter. You see James Lowe in front of him. Watch the low side as there goes McConey. There goes Worrell, and boom, right into the rear axle. Engine's still running for now, but we do have quite a few cars smoking. McConey, one of them. Wow. That is some heavy damage. Good grief. Greg's a mess. Wholesale pit stops, though, is everybody trying to limp their cars back, and I think McConey just hand grenaded the engine. Yes, he did. Unfortunately, that car not running anymore. Hopefully, he's going to be able to coast it to his pit box. He's going to get popped with a speeding penalty. Possibly. Gets it woed down to the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, and he's coasting. Trying to get that car started. There we go. Chris Howell trying to do the same as they're both... And there goes McConey's engine. Just yards from his pit box. Is he able to? Just barely. Just barely getting it in there, and apparently they do have fast repairs tonight. McConey, though, not taking it. Of the cars that did pit, Marcus Adams going to lead that battle off pit road. 4 in fuel for everybody. Chris Howell just burned his fast repair and took fuel only. So while we are under caution, we are going to step away, pay a couple bills, and we'll be back right after this. And we are back at Talladega, Alabama for round number 3 of the Circle B Diecast Superspeedway Series. Joining us now, a very dejected Mr. Greg McConey. And Greg, bump draft gone wrong and all hell broke loose.
Yeah, I was working with Chris coming out of turn 2. I was looking to the outside line. As soon as I got there, my car moved up a little bit. I heard outside. I shot the car back to the left, and it just hooked Chris. And feel bad, feel horrible. And then coming to the pits, my motor blows up, overshot my stall, and as soon as I reset, iRacing didn't take a fast repair. So now I've got 40 minutes of required.
Tough break here tonight, Greg, but next week we go right into your wheelhouse, where you already have one victory on the season in another league, the iRacing Superspeedway with the Xfinity car. Talk us about your thoughts going into that race next week.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, man. I love the track. Certainly learned some things with the Thunderclap race last week that I'm looking to take into this week's or into next week's race. Just a little frustrated. It's been a rough week. Missed the Thunderclap race and the throwbacks that I wanted to run, and now I'm missing this race because of either a glitch or something. But hate to see it.
It's that normal glitch that happens with fast repairs, as I've had it happen to me numerous times. But have you figured out yet in 2 weeks what we're going to be running at Daytona? Which version of the Indy cars here in iRacing, as you've got 3 to choose from?
No, I haven't. That's something we got to figure out in the next week or so. We'll take a look and see what's out there. I know iRacing does have setups for those cars, so that'll be we'll go with one of those like we normally do in a fixed series, and we'll have some fun. And
if you need any help figuring out a setup, let me know. Or better yet, reach out to your brother. He's one of the best setup guys in the industry.
Yeah, it was. We'll see. We'll figure it out. We'll give. We may do a test session or something like that. See how the cars handle, and then see if we got to make any tweaks or whatever.
Well, Greg, I would invite you to stay up here in the booth with me if you'd like to. Being as you've got another 30 or so minutes, 35 or so minutes of required repairs to get that engine swapped out. As we are watching along right now, is Shane Posey up on the top shelf with your pole sitter. That is the 88 of Chris Howell trying to make something happen. But Marcus Adams up through the middle as he's got one of your teammates, Brandon Wilson, glued to his back bumper. And Ed DeBoer right there as well in the 24.
Yeah, no, Brandon was doing well. He was just kind of riding around in the back, biding his time. With such a small field tonight, it's been nice to be able to do that. It certainly allowed for some great racing as well. Like I said, as we go diving into it, I've loved riding this car, and that's why I'm so frustrated that I'm not out there, because this car led to such great racing and 3 wide the whole way. It was a blast, and I hate to be sitting in the booth with you. No offense, buddy.
No, none taken. I'd rather be out on track than in the booth with me as well. But we were talking about the different the packages on this car, and you've got to be so careful trying to bump draft. Can you kind of explain the theory behind how you can and can't work this car in a draft?
So, yeah, the way this car is set up is it's the traditional, I guess you'd call it
short track.
Normal short track intermediate speedway package, where the nose and the rear end, the nose is low and the rear end's sitting up high. So that allows that front end, when you go to bump draft, it actually slides under the rear end of the car and jacks the tires up.
Almost like a super late model would on either dirt or asphalt.
Exactly. So you can push, and I don't know if you caught me doing it at all.
I did.
But you have to be so careful. Unlike the trucks or Xfinity or the normal Cup cars, where you can get into the back bumper and really kind of jam on somebody. These cars, you have to feather the throttle on your entry as you're getting right up to their bumper, and you just want to get to the point where your nose is just starting to push that rear bumper up, and that's the best place that I've found to push in these things.
So you're almost trying to push the aero bubble that the lead car is punching in the air.
Yeah, you're trying to get actually underneath that bubble. So you're trying to cut under and get your nose just under the rear bumper of the car ahead of you.
Not so much that you lift it, but just enough that you're cutting the air going over their spoiler, right?
Exactly.
Fair enough. As here comes one of your compatriots on Dudes Racing. That's the 501 of Brandon Wilson trying to make something happen on the top shelf. Michael Anthony was looking like he wanted to go with him, thought better of it, as Posey and Adams still side by side at the front of this piece. Swope and Howell up there as well. Now, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, this is one of the first races that Chris Howell has been in the iRacing Speedway Series, or iRacing East Super Speedway Series.
It is. Howell jumped in with us tonight, actually. So this is his first race with us. So
talk about trial by fire.
Yeah, absolutely. These are the toughest cars. Well, I'll challenge
so
it.
far.
So far. The next gens last week were fun to drive, but something in that setup was just so loose and made those things so squirrely in the draft. But right. You could push like it was nobody's business.
Well, we were talking earlier, only 2 Fords in the field and 1 Pontiac to speak of. Everything else carrying the bow tie. As you've got Timmy Henderson in the 91, that's a Ford Mustang. Chris Worrell is driving the Taurus. And Brian Chu driving the only Pontiac. As Adams goes down below the yellow line, looking like he was trying to bail out. The only thing is, Matt Swope went with him, and he kept pushing him.
Yeah, and it's tough with these cars because, like I said, you can't take the run to get to somebody's rear bumper. And you've got to be so cautious of it. As we see that third line of Chris Worrell's forming up on the outside. And Chris, Marcus, and those guys have done a great job, and they're fast, and they've figured out how to push. I've personally found the outside lane is the best and fastest lane once you get 3 guys. 2, the middle lane is even with the bottom, and the outside line will fall back. But if you get 3 on that outside, you can really make some moves there.
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about last week with the next-gen cars. That second lane, it doesn't seem to bog the engine down in the middle of the corner. As a matter of fact, we're going to go off the nose of Timmy Henderson's 91 right now, and you can see just how much that track bar is dragging on the 82 of Matt Swope. And on the low side, you're really digging it in. Whereas if we go up to the 88 of Chris Howell, you can see that it's not dragging quite as badly on Marcus Adams' car. So, you're not punishing the car quite as badly as. There we go, a little bit of bump draft down the super stretch here, but that second lane and even at the top lane, you're not punishing the right side suspension quite as much as you have to on the low side to keep it pinned down.
No, you don't, which does allow for a little bit of speed. The other thing that happens is you're putting less wheel input into it.
Right.
So by having to turn the wheel less, it keeps a little bit more speed, which is why you see the advantage on the low side on corner entry, just because of the shorter distance. But the outside line gets such a run on corner exit like you're looking at right now. You look at that outside lane is just hauling with Marcus Adams, and they're able to drive back. They may fall back half a car from center of the corner, from entry to center of the corner, but they gain it right back and more on corner exit.
And you can see that top lane, hang on to her. Jason Papp got a little bit squirrely going into 3. Worrell wisely backing off of him as Adams jumps up to pick up Papp. Worrell drops to the low side. And, wow, Shane Posey just did a 3-lane change to get up and out of the way. That's going to open the door for the 82 of Swope. And do we know where Mount Oreb is?
No. Not a clue.
Fair enough.
I can Google it.
If you feel so inclined, I'm not going to say no, sir. I would greatly appreciate it. But the Mount Oreb native right now, and if you know where Mount Oreb is, go ahead and throw us a tweet on our Twitter handle. You can see it right there at the bottom of your screen, Sim Racing Media 1, at Sim Racing Media 1 on Twitter. As Howell now shows the way, Worrell up there with him. Howell a little bit squirrely coming through 3 and 4 out of Moyock, North Carolina. Just a little bit outside of Statesville. Howell with a good head of steam in that AC Delco number 88. Coming to the line by half a fender. Give that lap to Howell as everybody was last down pit road on lap 22. So we're expecting sometime in the next 10 or so laps we should be seeing green flag pit stops. As that is the 83 of Shane Posey up on the top shelf. Worrell trying to get some clean air to the radiators. They come down the super stretch again here. Down the back straightaway. Swope with the nose out front. There we see Worrell driving the only Ford Taurus in the field. Pied Piper of Suffolk, Virginia.
Mount Oreb is east of Cincinnati in Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Yep. As you see, 3 wide, Chris Worrell to the top. You know, with no help on that inside line, it's real easy for that car to start falling back as you're seeing it happen now. But, oh, Chris.
Wow.
A little too close for comfort there.
Yeah, that was definitely a pucker moment for us up here in the booth. I can't imagine what it was like down on the track. But Matt Swope out of Mount Oreb, so he's over near Sandusky then.
Yes, I believe so. I will see how far it is from Sandusky.
So Swope, Howell, Henderson, Posey, Worrell, Gautier, Papp, Lowe, Adams, and Brandon Wilson rounding out your top 10. Throw a blanket over your top 13. As the only one kind of not on pace right now is back there. That is John LeBombard out of Kannapolis, North Carolina. Why? Why does that hometown name sound familiar? So the Kannapolis native just hanging on back there, driving the other Monster Energy car. As back towards the front, that is Swope showing the way. Here comes Posey on the top side with a lot of help from Chris Howell in the 88. Jason Papp, third car in line, and your 2-time defending champion, Marcus Adams, sitting back there as the 4th car on the top shelf as we are getting ready to put lap 39 of 70 in the books here from Talladega, Alabama. Papp looking to the high side. Marcus Adams looks like he's going with him. Yes, he is. Papp making a charge on that 3rd lane, and they've got James Lowe up there with them as Posey. Oy! Posey getting a little bit of spookage there coming from Papp. Tried to go up to block the run. Didn't take the side draft away as Adams giving Papp a good shove down the back chute. Papp now with the nose out front as they haul it off into turn number 3. Posey and Posey and Howell in the middle lane. Swope still on the bottom side with Tim Henderson.
In regards to what you were saying before, Tony, Mount Oreb is 4 hours south of Sandusky, Ohio.
There we go.
It's 50 minutes east of Cincinnati.
Oh, there you go then. Tonight's geography lesson brought to you by Greg McConey and Google. As Jason Papp, for the first time tonight, does get the bonus point for leading a lap. There you see him in the Old Spice Ace, the Pied Piper of Palm Bay, Florida. And, while we do have Jason highlighted, Greg, how would somebody get involved with the iRacing East Superspeedway Series if they wanted to sponsor in one of the packages available?
Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up. We are looking for sponsors, both individual race sponsors, series sponsors. I know you saw the video.
Papp's around.
He saved
what a save!
That was a fantastic save.
Holy cow! Save of the night so far by Jason Papp.
Yes. But you can look up iRacing E-Series on Facebook and message us there, or you can email us at iracingeast.gmail.com.
iRacingEast.gmail.com. Gotcha.
Yes.
And multiple packages available. Different things available if you want to sponsor a race, if you want to sponsor multiple races, if you want to sponsor the series. Heck, if you want to sponsor the Restart Zone, we'll give you that.
Yeah, we do. That's the Restart Zone, White Flag, all that stuff is part of the bronze package. Gold package goes up where you get a race sponsor. What is it? Diamond is next, which is 3 races, plus everything in the lower sponsorships. And then Platinum is the highest package that we'll offer, where you get 3 races, you become a series sponsor of the iRacing E-Series, and you get first choices within the playoffs, as well as a playoff round being named after you, one of the first 3.
So if you look at the top of your screen, folks, where the ticker is, you see where that says Circle B Diecast Superspeedway Series? That could easily be the name of your small business. And if you look right to the left, top left of your screen, right above where it reads intervals, if you'll notice, that's a big blank canvas. We could put your logo right there. That could be yours. Just reach out to Jason Papa, Greg McConey, and they can get you pointed in the right direction on how to get that.
Absolutely. And if you do have a video
Absolutely.
for your company, we will play it during our commercial breaks, like you saw with our commercial here tonight. And well, the sponsor reads, all that stuff, as it gets real tight coming out of 4 there.
Yeah, Marcus Adams pinching up on
wide,
Shane Posey, and we're
wide.
4 wide. Good grief. Low and Worrell on the low side. Posey and the 67 of Cujo himself, the birthday boy, trying to make something happen on the top shelf as Henderson gets into the wall going into 1.
Yeah, Anderson caught the wall. Joe was just trying to check up, get out of that 4-wide situation. Henderson was trying to get up there to give him a push to get him ahead of that pack. It just didn't work out for either one.
As Posey goes back to that 3rd lane, Cujo looks like he might be going with his teammate. And there we go. As we are now officially 3 wide, as Posey getting a good run coming off of 4, pulls alongside Worrell. But Chris Howell and Matt Swope leading that bottom line charge. They're going to get the run to the line, give the lap to Howell by almost a full car length over Marcus Adams, your 2-time defending series champion, in the middle lane with his teammate Chris Worrell. And they've got Ed DeBoer in the 24 right behind him. And here comes the lone Pontiac driven by Brian Chu.
Yeah, Chu's making a big run right up the middle there. It's just sitting 3 wide with Posey and Lowe on the bottom. But you saw, with the 2 cars that were on that outside, as soon as you got 3 in the middle, they overpowered that outside. Even though the outside lane, like I said, felt like it was the fastest all night, you need 3 cars up there in order to do anything. As what a push from Chris Worrell onto Marcus Adams here. They get clear of the bottom line, trying to pull the 24 with them. Marcus goes low, Chris goes high. Marcus gets the lap, but Chris is going to get the lead going into turn 1 here.
Worrell with the nose already out in front, going through 1 and 2. DeBoer all over his back bumper. DeBoer releases, goes to the top side. Chu shuts the door on him, not going to let him back in line. And just like that, he is back in line, as now Adams playing both halves against the middle, as here comes Howell on the low side. Adams going up to pick up his Balls Garano Racing teammate. And don't let the paint schemes tonight fool you, folks. Most of these cars are painted the way that they are solely because iRacing changed the model of this car on the last update that came out on Wednesday.
Yeah, they did, and
I dare say for the better.
I agree, absolutely. I like the new decal sets on it. I like the new interior. I like everything that they've done with it, except putting the Superspeedway bumper on.
Right.
That's the one thing I wish they did, is put that Superspeedway bumper there so that we could bump draft better and get some better racing.
Well, Greg, I know you haven't had much seat time in the latest iteration of the ARCA car, but with the latest update from iRacing, there's a new damage model on all the cars now where it fatigues. The more wall contact you get at a place like Darlington or Bristol, where you've kind of got to run that upper lane, have you had any experience so far with parts fatiguing and finally work hardening to the point that they break yet?
No, I haven't. And I don't, with a lot of the oval racing that I do, I don't expect to see that all too much. Except for places like you said at Darlington and all that. But even at those places, if you hit the wall in the old damage model, it's still registered damage. I expect to see a lot of that part failure on suspensions and such once we get to places like Road America, Watkins Glen, the Roval, any of the road courses where you're hitting those bumps and those curves or turtles. That's where I think you're going to see a lot of the suspension damage and failure and fatigue happening.
Yeah, sausage curbs have never been your friend. They're going to be even less of your friend now.
Oh, yeah. And if you get into aspects like the IndyCar has this damage model too, I believe. I think the only ones that don't are Xfinity and Truck on the NASCAR side. I don't know if those have it.
I believe they did. They put it on everything.
Okay.
Kind of like Frank's Red Hot. They put that stuff on everything.
Did they update? I don't know if they updated the damage model on the Truck and Xfinity. I haven't read the full. I read the patch notes they released last week, but I haven't read the official release after Wednesday's update.
Yeah, I believe they did. Looks like Joe Gatti, the only one bringing it pit side, as is Shane Posey. So everybody getting single filed out. That's usually the tattletales. We're 20 to go. We're inside the you can make it from here range, as Ed DeBoer currently shows the way at the front of this piece, driving the Monster Energy Tropical number 24 here tonight. That bright green paint scheme. And coincidentally, I just happen to have a can of that sugar-free on my desk.
There you go. Yeah, I'm expecting guys coming in. Most likely the next time would put them about
19 to go.
Yeah, 19 to go. I'm expecting most guys coming in fairly soon. I was seeing about 32 laps as the leader, somewhere around 32 laps.
Okay, so I was underestimating then.
Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of guys to come probably around 55. I'm expecting, if it were me, what I'd be looking at is no tires. I would be looking at simply a splash and go. I would not want to put right sides on this.
No.
With how twitchy this car is, I would not want to have just right sides.
I might put lefts on to tighten it up a little.
That's the only thing that I would put on our lefts. Is you see a big wiggle out of that third car in line, which is
Marcus Adams. Yeah.
That's the same wiggle that I had coming out of turn 2, and then I just hooked it left because I heard outside I didn't want to push Marcus up into the wall, and that's why I'm still here. But no, this is, I'm loving this racing, and I'm kicking myself for not being down there. Very close there between that 88 and 24 on the inside.
That was a little bit sketch right there, as Adams wisely backing out of it, not wanting to be involved in anything. But Ed DeBoer currently leading the bottom line, as those are 4 Balls-Garana teammates right behind him, being led by Brian Chu, Marcus Adams, Chris Worrell, and James Lowe, all on the low side, as they are coming up on Cujo, who unfortunately lost his drafting help. Oy.
Yeah, he lost Posey, as Posey's about halfway down the backstretch right now. And I'm just looking to see. Oh, what happened was Posey looks like he got a hold penalty.
He did.
47 seconds in pit.
Pop for speeding on.
Yep.
And that really hampered Gautier, but he's able to get back into the tail end of this lead group, currently being shown as the first car one or more laps down, as Ed DeBoer currently showing the way on that low lane. Chris Howell, Brian Chu, Matt Swope, Marcus Adams, Chris Worrell, James Lowe, Michael Anthony, Brandon Wilson, Jason Papp, as most of them peel off to go pit side. Howell and Swope both electing to stay out.
What'd I say? 54, 55?
Yep.
I said 55, though, but they're coming at the start of 55. So that'll be interesting. Like I said, I expect these guys just to take a splash. Let's take a look.
Yep, fuel only is what it's going to look like here, as Howell and Swope have Gautier right there with them. So should something pop off, Gautier is in the free pass position right now. And Jason Papp wins jumps up to third, as that is he and...
Oh, big slide on the pit road. Both cars, one car around, one saves it.
The 88
Howell went sideways.
The 88 looks like he might be getting popped for an unsafe pit entry.
He was locked up for sure.
We're going to take a look at that and see what's going on here, as there goes Swope to his stall, Howell into his stall. No tires for either. They both got popped.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
They had a fantastic strategy going, that and it's so easy to do with these cars. If you don't push a little brake bias to the rear off this fixed setup, it really makes pit entry extremely difficult because you tend to slide.
Now here we are watching the battle for the lead. That is Chris Worrell, the second car in line. Shane Posey, the the last car left on the lead lap, right in front of your leaders. He is currently praying for a caution. 15 laps to go as Adams goes to the high side to give Michael Anthony the run on the low side. Adams going to try to draft back up.
And he should be all right, as long as he's staying within a second or so of that group ahead of him. With these cars, since they're so aerodynamic, you're able to really pull back from about a second. So we'll see. As you see, he's already closed that gap again.
Yes, he has. Getting a good tow from that hole being punched right now by Shane Posey. Posey has his foot through the floorboard. We are 14 to go. Chris Worrell looking to join his two teammates, as James Lowe won the season opener at Daytona. Marcus Adams won last week in the next gen here at Talladega. Worrell looking to become the third Balls-Garana teammate to make it into the playoffs by punching his ticket early.
No, Marcus.
Or no, it wasn't Marcus last week.
White won it.
It was it was White that won that. As unfortunately he's not here tonight. Brad Mashburn, again, get well soon, buddy. Is a little medical issue for Brad, but Worrell looking to, just biding his time right now, not wanting to do anything crazy. Gonna let Posey punch that hole in the air, as that lone Ford at the front of this piece, trying to make something happen. And is that a... Yes, it is. That is a Dodge being driven by Michael Anthony, and I didn't realize that. So, one Ford Taurus, one Ford Mustang, one Pontiac Grand Prix, and one Dodge Charger. Everything else wearing the bow tie.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to really dive into this new decal set that iRacing released with these ARCA cars. I was able to throw a quick paint together tonight. So I got to go back and look and see if there's other nose and windshield like decal sets like they've got on some of the old Super Elite models and such.
Well, if you want, I can send you some if you want to trade that out.
I'll take a look. I can put something together. But I appreciate it, bud.
I could see you running I could see you running a Holden.
We see a big change for the lead there. James Lowe gets himself up front. Help by Anthony there. You saw Worrell and Marcus drop back. Now they do have to be careful because right now they are almost 2 seconds back of Mike, Anthony, and Lowe. I think they're just going to let them fight it out. As we are 10 to go when they get back to the line.
We are at that. As Lowe and Anthony still run stem to stern. They've got the lap car, John LeBombard, behind them. Shane Posey in front of them, as Posey being scored as the last car on the lead lap, being as Lowe. It would be something if Lowe were to get his second win on the season in only 3 starts.
Yeah, Lowe is he's a very competitive racer, as is everybody in this league, and that's what makes this league so good. There's very few guys, if any, that I can think of that would ever not wreck somebody, because everybody's got the respect that we're going to do everything we can not to wreck somebody for the win. But a bump out of the way is not out of the question.
No, it's not. But, Greg, I got to admit to you, when we first picked up the iRacing E Superspeedway Series about 2.5 years ago now here on the station, I was a little skeptical at first because I've driven in Superspeedway Series and other Superspeedway Series, and they mostly turn into wreckfests. But from race 1 that I saw with you guys, you were some of the most talented Superspeedway and plate track drivers anywhere in the iRacing servers. And that's really something you guys can hang your hat on and be proud of. Being as, like I said, most of the time, like if you go take a look at Carb Cup or any of those, 24-hour Talladega races that get put up and open hosted, it's a wreck fest because everybody thinks, do it for Dale and, I'm going to the front whether you want me to or not. Whereas, you guys show patience, and that's refreshing to see as a broadcaster.
We appreciate that, Tony, and we do pride ourselves on that. We want to be the cleanest Superspeedway league, but we also want to be the most aggressive.
You're definitely the most competitive.
We are, and you can be aggressive and competitive without making a wreck fest. So, and that's what we want. We want drivers that are going to come in here. We want strategy. That's why we love, and we shorten the fuel to make green flag pit stops happen. We do it to make strategy come into play. Like you see right now, Lowe and Anthony are almost 5 seconds ahead of Worrell, Marcus, DeBoer, and Chu. So now whether that, and the interesting thing is both of those guys had about almost a second less time in the pits, Lowe and Anthony did, versus Worrell and the others. So it's a fuel game. These guys are playing fuel. Chris and Marcus may not have thought they had enough. They decided to drop back. These guys decided they're going all out and they're going to go for it. And if you notice, that second pack is actually starting to chip into the lead. As it was 5 seconds, it's now down to just barely over 4 seconds as Worrell leading that four-car charge just outside the podium. Worrell's on the podium. Everybody else trying to get up there with him as, Lowe and Anthony hammer down and trying to make something happen with Shane Posey up there. Yeah, they are. And right now, both those guys, the reason they haven't passed Posey, they're using Posey as the fuel pig, the fuel hog. They want him out front in the air. They want to force him to burn all the fuel that they can, so that way they're having to blip. They're having to lift a little bit.
So they're able to run at like 3/4 throttle instead of foot to the floor.
Exactly.
Posey's racing for, his life right now, trying to stay on the lead lap. And Lowe and Anthony are just letting him punch that hole in the air, and they're just following through and saving fuel. As we are going to be 5 to go at the stripe.
Exactly. So for them, get in within the last 5. Get in within the last 2, and then I expect those 2 to race each other out. I don't see that second pack. That second pack's too far back. They're not going to gain. They're closing about a tenth or so a lap. Still way too far back to make anything happen. But third place is on the board still. That's the thing to remember. Posey is the lap car.
So that's going to get ugly. They were 3 deep bumper to bumper. And Brian Chu broke the cardinal rule of Superspeedway racing, don't push the pusher, and he was as they hauled it off into turn number 1.
As you see, they've pushed Posey out of the way up front. Lowe and Anthony are fighting out for it here these last few laps to go.
5 to go, coming through turn 4, getting ready to put this lap in the books. It'll be 4 to go at the line as Lowe leads Anthony by about a car length, as they've got 4 seconds to the good over the peloton, being led by Chris Worrell, Ed DeBoer, Brian Chu, and Marcus Adams, who have a 34-second gap back to 7th place. Brandon Wilson in the 501, as he's got Cujo with him back there in 8th, and they're 3 seconds to the good over your pole sitter Chris Howell, Matt Swope, Tim Henderson, and Jason Papp, rounding out your lead lap cars.
Yeah, as we see the lead pair come into turn 3, it's going to get interesting because, like we said, James Lowe wants it. He's not going to roll over and let Anthony take it simply because Anthony's a teammate. You're going to see the block be thrown, and you're going to see the race and the fight happen, and that's what we want. That's the aggressive level that we as admins of the iRacing E-Series look for. We want guys that are going to do that. We want the guys that are going to race you, they'll bump you, they'll push you. They're not going to wreck you on purpose. Now, in the first race, we saw the big wreck happen coming into turn 3 with the 3-wide racing. That was a netcode issue. That was nothing more than that, which we hate to see, but we can't control netcode.
You want calculated aggression.
Exactly.
Not just aggression for aggression's sake.
And we've had that, and we've had guys that have done that, and you tend to not see those guys in the league anymore. For several reasons.
I want to point something out to you, Greg. What was a 4.5-second gap is now down to 1 1/4 as Chris Worrell leading that charge. They're running out of time, but they are definitely reeling in these top 2 as Lowe and Anthony continue to run stem to stern, now under a second, as Worrell just set the fastest lap of the race with a 48.33.
And that is massive. And that's I wasn't even looking at that. I thought they were so far back, but as soon as those 2 got to 2 wide,
not anymore.
The pack of 4 behind them. Here they come. Here comes Worrell off the outside, makes the move. Chris Worrell takes the lead going into turn 4 as they're going into 3, pulls Ed DeBoer with them. We're going to get the white flag here once they come back to the line, and we've got a 6-car shootout here.
We absolutely do, as Worrell was 7 mile an hour quicker going into turn number 3 that last time, as Lowe still caught on the low side. Ed DeBoer looking for an opening. Worrell, we're racing back to checkers. Worrell currently showing the way. DeBoer sits in second. Worrell sideways, Lowe sideways. Worrell into the wall. We are racing back to checkers, though. That's going to open the door for Brian Chu as he pulls alongside Michael Anthony. Marcus Adams down there with Anthony on the low side.
Marcus is going to push Anthony as they go into 3. Chu's going to drop back in 3rd. He's got 3rd pretty much locked down. He's going to try and make a slingshot move, though. He should have enough time to do it. So he's going to get back. He's about 2/10 now. He's got to be on the throttle, and that's exactly what he wanted to see. That 2 wide punches such a huge hole, but Marcus has a huge run on the outside. Here comes the 18. They're going to come to the line 3 wide. Your winner is the 18.
Wow!
Across the line.
Brian Chu steals one.
And that's exactly what he wanted to see. He wanted Marcus and Anthony to get too wide, and it timed out perfectly for him to be able to get that run to the outside. Those two were focused on each other, and Chu was able to get that run on the outside and takes this car to victory lane as Anthony and Marcus have a little bit of words with each other.
Wow. By a bumper. Good grief. As we just saw the replay coming to the finish, all three of them getting contact after the line. We are going to go back and take a look at what did happen with the Six and company. There's Worrell. Bang! And one of them just hand grenaded the engine. And I believe it was Worrell. Yes, it was. Oy. Oh, that was a sharp-looking Ford Taurus for a while. Let's go back and take a look at that. Yep, Worrell hand grenades the engine to bore, eats the wall, but keeps it pointed in a semi-correct direction. He's going to hang on for fifth. And you can see just heavy right side damage on that car. As a matter of fact, I don't think the right front suspension is connected. Good grief. Last lap fireworks again at Talladega.
And that's all thanks to the fact that they moved the start-finish line closer to turn one to sell more tickets. That's entirely, the racing that we get at Talladega is entirely thanks to Bill France. I think Senior was the one that did it. Wanting to sell more tickets going into turn one. And so instead of putting the line at the center of the tri-oval, he moved it down to the exit, past the exit of pit lane. And in turn, it created the racing that you see tonight. Because otherwise,
there's your finish.
Had the race.
You guys can see it on the screen. There's the finish. Brian Chu by a bumper over Marcus Adams by a bumper over Michael Anthony. Good grief. What a finish here at Talladega in the ARCA car. Wow.
Yeah, that was fantastic. That was that's the racing that we want. That was so much fun. That was so great to see. And congrats to Chu on such an amazing finish there.
Absolutely. As we are actually going to reach out now to the driver of the Interstate Batteries Pontiac, the only Pontiac in the field tonight, Brian Chu. What a finish, my friend. Congratulations on punching your ticket into this season's playoffs.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy there that last couple laps, but I do have to first thank my boys. Edwin dropped back for me because I just missed the draft coming out of our pits. And then Chris and I believe Marcus held back for me to make it a little bit more interesting. I think those guys would have a little bit more fun to try to make it interesting. So we caught those guys. Fortunately, I think they lost one car, and then us four were able to catch them pretty quick. And then when they were wrecking there, I just tried to hang on to the draft, and the C's kind of just I knew I was going to go up to the wall. I was hoping I wasn't going to get blocked up to the wall, but I don't know what it looked like on from your end, but it looked pretty close on my end.
From the distance of the tip of the bumper to the start of your headlights is what you won that race by.
I can believe it. I didn't even know until I looked at the standing sticker on my relative, so I had no idea. I was just hoping.
Well, Brian, changing gears a little bit, we go from the ARCA car here at Talladega into the Xfinity car next week at the iRacing Superspeedway. What are your thoughts going into round number 4 there?
I like the Xfinity car. iRacing Superspeedway can be a little hairy, but it's nice to get a dub there and not even have to worry about it. So we'll just go there and have fun, try to help some of our other guys. It's the same guys that helped me, I'm going to try to help them, you know what I mean?
Fair enough. We're going to let you go celebrate, Brian, but who do you need to thank before we turn you loose?
Yeah, I mean, appreciate you doing the broadcast, Tony. I know you do a couple of the leagues I'm in, and you do a great job, so appreciate you. Circle B Diecast, Rowdy Energy, iRacing, iFlag, Butt Kicker, Midwest Motor Customs, and then also teammates all their balls out racing and they Chris Worrell. I mean, he's a good friend of mine. I appreciate him getting me in this league, and for all the help that he gives me. So appreciate him.
Absolutely. Brian Chu, again, congratulations on winning here tonight at Talladega. We'll let you go celebrate with your team. Best of luck to you next week at the Superspeedway.
All right, Tony. Thanks, my friend.
And Greg, I believe you've got the two-time defending champion Marcus Adams with you now.
Marcus, it's Greg in the booth because I wasn't on track anymore. Congrats on second place, man. What a finish.
Yeah, I mean, I could have waited, wait to do it, but, I mean, I want to have fun this season rather than take it too serious, so pulled out to give all three of us a shot.
Yeah, and you three did such a great job. Coming to the end there, you, Chris, and that group of four really got everything lined up, and you ran down those leaders of Anthony and Lowe. How did you guys do that?
Shane Posey, I don't know why, but he decided to get out of line with James and Mike, and that allowed us to gain a lot of time. But I mean, I just really want to have fun, so anyone in the Discord that works with us, I don't care if they win, so I just want to have fun.
Yeah, you guys look like you were having a blast out there. That was a fantastic photo finish, 3 wide. Between first and third was .016 seconds. You finished in second by .007. We head to iRacing Superspeedway next week in the Xfinity cars. What are your thoughts going into that race?
I'd rather that be Atlanta, but
I gotcha.
You and everybody except Greg.
Atlanta, like I said, we haven't said Atlanta won't be on the schedule. Just wasn't when we started. But Marcus, second place again, man. Congratulations. Who do you have to thank?
Circle B Diecast, Rowdy Energy, Irish Now Flag, Butt Kicker, Midwest Motor Costume.
All right, buddy. Well, Marcus Adams, your second place finisher. Congrats again, man. Good luck next week, and hopefully I'm racing with you guys again. I was having a blast during this first part of the race, so I'm hoping next week we'll get the same kind of action.
Yep.
See ya, buddy.
And unfortunately, we do not have his teammate Michael Anthony in the Discord, so we're just going to get right into it with the final finishing order here tonight from Talladega. We already heard from Brian Chu punching his ticket into the playoffs. Marcus Adams, Michael Anthony rounding out your top 3. James Lowe and Ed DeBoer hanging on to round out your top 5. Tim Henderson, Joe Gautier, Matt Swope, Jason Papp, and Chris Howell rounding out your lead lap cars. Chris Worrell, after that last lap melee and hand grenading the engine, finishing the first car 1 or more laps down. Brandon Wilson, Shane Posey, John LeBombard, and Greg McConey rounding out your finishing order here tonight. So that is going to about do it for us here for round number 3 at Talladega. Again, be sure to join us for the remainder of the weekend, as we do have a full slate for you on Sunday with the triple header kicking off at 5:10 Eastern Time with the ISNF Cup Series from Kansas. Then we go to the Nexus of 499 at 8:15. That'll be from Daytona, I believe. And the Sunday Night NASCAR next round from Kansas at 8:20 Eastern Time. So for Mr. Greg McConey, this is Tony Trapasso reminding you, ladies and gentlemen, that until we meet again as you walk down the road of life this week, whatever you do, don't play in traffic. God save the king.
Bye, everyone.